All right, so this is going to be a Stardew Valley Bachelor Bachelorette tier list. Stardew Valley, I made a video about the 100% farm. I want to do a tier list. I think I personally really enjoy tier list content. It could be a tier list about anything, tier list about like your favorite fruit and vegetable. I don't know. There's just something about it that it's cool to see other people's perspectives on these things, and also when you go to the you view the community tier list, and you can just see so many different types of opinions out there. So I think it's really cool just to see what those are and kind of compare your opinions to someone else's opinions. How I want to structure this one is at first I want to put everyone in a like, okay, dislike, and then from there I want to determine who the best girl and best guy, worst girl, worst guy is. In preparation for this kind of video, I did rewatch all of the star events, or not the star events, the heart events, just to refamiliarize myself with all the characters, make sure that you know, have a give everyone a chance before just kind of going in with my normal opinions, and some have changed. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Anyways, let's get right into it. I'll go in alphabetical order. So starting with Abigail. Abigail, if you have seen my 100% uh, farm, you would know that Abigail, I'm married to Abigail. I've only played the game once. Abigail is going to go into the like column. Once again, I'm doing like, okay, or dislike. Um, Abigail is pretty cool. You kind of meet her as she's playing video games. You help her beat the video game. This kind of progresses into this. You see her playing the flute in the rain. She overall seems like a quirky girl, kind of like a gamer girl, but more of like an adventurous type. I'd say she's a bit punk. Kind of has a interesting relationship with her parents, and the whole wizard dynamic. It's not really resolved, but heavily implied. She just seems like this kind of spooky girl almost. You see her doing sword fighting, like practicing her sword fighting in the graveyard. There's also the scene where she's using a Ouija board, and then you kind of finalize her whole character arc with her trying to work up this confidence to go into the mines and slay some monsters. So, very adventurous type, quirky, spooky gamer girl is how I would describe her. She does seem a bit young. She does eat rocks. She is sweaty a lot of the time. Um, Overall, I think her being young, she seems like the kind of girl I would be interested in high school. Not so much these days, but definitely that kind of like almost that whatever her name, Ramona Flowers ish type girl from like uh Scott Pilgrim versus the World, you know. But yeah, overall, I like her. And then we'll go into the next one, which is Alex. Alex is this guy who you meet him, and if you play as a girl character, um, he is a bit misogynistic in a way. I don't know what it's like from the guy's perspective, but I played as a female character when I was doing his cutscenes, so he did seem a bit misogynistic. As you kind of get to know him, he is a bit self-conscious, and it seems like he puts up this front of being this macho kind of guy. He seems like he is very kind of stuck in this high school mindset. I feel like some of these characters, they just feel like they're in high school. But I give them all the benefit of the doubt that they're 18. Um, but yeah, he seems like he's just stuck as this washed up football quarterback, and I do think that his character arc is decent. He kind of comes around after you learn about his parents' situation, and he starts to be nicer. He takes you out to a nice dinner, if you choose the love route, I believe. But his parents, spoilers, but his parents are no longer in the picture, so he lives with his grandpa and grandma, And I don't know. I think overall I don't really like Alex that much. If I had to rank him, I think that I don't hate him, but I think that he's um just a little bit too cocky, a little bit too arrogant. Even with his like, the explanation of his backstory, I think that he's still kind of just not someone who I really want to be friends with, let alone date or marry. So I'll put Alex in dislike. Next, we got Elliot. Elliot is originally I did not like Elliot that much. I thought he was a bit pretentious. He kind of reminds me of the Beauty and the Beast in human form, and I don't really like his pose. But after seeing his cutscenes, it did make me like him a bit more. He is a writer. I like to write, so that was kind of an initial bond. He buys you a drink in the saloon, which is something I feel like most of the other bachelor candidates aren't really like gentlemen. Like, and I feel like Elliot is he's just like a very um, proper. I don't know, like it comes off as pretentious sometimes, but I feel like he's just almost like he's in his own little world. It's not like he's trying to be like better than anyone. He just like almost talks differently because he's just a writer. So he has like this extensive vernacular, which I kind of appreciate sometimes. So I think just like overall seeing him progress, I grew to like his character a lot, which I wasn't expecting. So I'm gonna put Elliot in the like. Emily, she is her and Haley are sisters. I believe Emily and Haley's parents are traveling the world, if I recall. Uh, Emily is this. I would say she is a bit quirky. Like I said, Abigail's quirky, but I don't know if I like Emily's quirky as much. Emily is a bit and I said that, Elliot's in his own little world, but Emily is almost like cringe to me. I don't know what it is. Like she's a very nice girl. I think she's very hardworking, and I, respect all these features. But I think the first impression of her being in the dream world kind of surprised me for a bit. I didn't really know what was going on. Lots of colors. It wasn't didn't hate it. It just was a bit um just not my style. Her, helping the animal, the parrot. I think that's a very, I support that decision. It just seems like there's just something that's we're just not connecting. It's not her, it's me sort of thing. Her dancing, like I fully support that. Her fashion, I love the fashion, but even the fashion show, like I feel like she was overstaged by all the people. Like I remember Robin had that nice outfit on. She looked very pretty. And then you got Abigail who had the knight and the armor, and she was sweaty, of course. And then even like the Clint situation's also a bit weird. I don't know if I think that also kind of turns me off a bit that there's this like Clint and Emily dynamic, and I don't really want to get involved. Not that I don't know. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Overall, I think I'm gonna put her in okay. I don't dislike Emily. I just don't think that we vibe. Next we got Haley, who is Emily's sister. Um, Haley is a bit more. I feel like she's a lover or hater kind of girl. She is a bit against doing chores. A bit one of them bimbos that's like, I'm super pretty. I don't really care. Like she almost feels like a mean girl. But the thing about Haley also is that I feel like she's just this like isolated mean girl. So she doesn't really have the posse that follows her. She doesn't really do any damage as a mean girl. She's just kind of like, I don't know, just there being a mean girl but not really being a mean girl, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's a good explanation, but I do like the energy she has. I like how confident she is. I like how she is following her passions about, you know, doing photography, and she does a lot of shopping. I think that is she probably spends a lot of money and doesn't really make a whole lot of money. So in terms of like a marriage candidate, that seems a bit like a red flag. Um, but I think overall, I do like Haley. I think that I'm glad she's in the game. I'm glad that she's kind of like this meme almost, or like people love her or hate her. Um, I don't know if I would go so far and call her best girl, but I do like her energy, and what she brings to the table. Next, we've got Harvey. Harvey is another character that originally, when I saw him, I thought he was a serial killer. He just looks a little bit kind of sus. And I got like these nerdy vibes from him. I wasn't sure if I was gonna vibe with Harvey. And that was also backed up. Like when I first met him, he was, health conscious. He's a doctor. I thought it was nice that he was supporting George, but it didn't really win me over when he was going to his house and taking like the readings of his health and whatnot. And then the next cutscene, it's more of him taking your readings, and there's the whole thing where your heart's beating fast. And I was like, okay, that's kind of like a clever thing, but I don't really care that much about Harvey. It's just, he kind of felt a bit like the pretentious type, like Elliot at the beginning. Like his likes are like fine cheeses and fine wines and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this guy has this vibe where he probably thinks that he's better than everyone in town. So that's what I kind of got originally from Harvey. As you start to like befriend Harvey, you do get these kind of cutscenes where he is doing some stuff in like he's participating in Caroline's aerobics class, which I think is cool. I was very unexpected. At first, I was like, "Oh, this guy's kind of creepy in the class," but he it kind of ties to his like passion for health, and I thought that was a bit cool and unexpected. And then further beyond that, he's very into like aviation, and like he has this radio in his room, and he's like trying to talk to like pilots or something, and then at the end there's like this hot air balloon scene. And I think like over the course of Harvey's journey, I grew to like him a bit more than what he initially was. I definitely think he was a bad first impression, but I don't think that it was a lasting bad first impression. So I think like overall I like Harvey. He's a cool guy. um, Definitely looks a little bit weird, but don't judge a book by its cover, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, Harvey's pretty cool. Next we got Leah. Now Leah was my first marriage candidate that I was going to go for. I think what I like, and I'm just gonna put her up in like because I don't have anything bad to say about Leah. I think Leah is inoffensive. Um, she's just this artsy girl in the woods, isn't really making any bold statements. She came from the city just like you, and she's kind of just running away from these responsibilities of the city. Um, you know, it essentially just what the main character is doing. I feel like if the main character, if I was role playing as the main character, which I like to do sometimes in games, I would probably marry Leah just because I feel like the main character, the farmer, would actually marry Leah. I think that her hobbies are cool and genuine. She's wholesome. Y- they're a bit bland sometimes. I feel like you get the apple from the tree. um you see you go into her, it's weird too because I did all her cutscenes out of order because I never really went into her house. So I got the house cutscenes last, so the first cutscene I ever got was her giving you the statue, and it was very abrupt up front. The like this statue is called the like I love insert player character's name or something. So I got all her cutscenes out of order, but I still think that she's a cool, artsy, wholesome person. Nothing bad to say about her. Um, and yeah, I think that's really all about her. Maru is another person I had a bad first impression with. Unfortunately, I feel like for Maru, I never really got um, that dopamine hit from her. I think she was always just kind of On the negative side for me, I'll put her in dislike. You start by meeting her at her house, and her dad Demetrius. You're doing like some sort of sciencey thing with the microscopes, I think, or the beakers, and she leaves the room for a bit, and then like Demetrius just grills you and like does that kind of like dad thing where he's like, oh, I'm gonna, don't make it, don't let anything bad happen to her, or I'll know about it or whatnot. And at the time I was just like, I have no feelings for Maru, so this is just kind of like added baggage that I just don't want to deal with. I think she is smart, and I do like how she is smart. I think that's her best quality. I think that it's cool that she's like a robot inventor, scientist, and also a nurse. I think she's, very ambitious and very go-getter, and I like that. Unfortunately, I just, when she drops the beaker in the hospital, and I don't know, like she just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Um, she's also she kind of gives me those vibes of like that kid in school who is almost too focused on school to the point where like they don't really it's like all they care about is like the social status of being like this like perfect individual, and I don't know if I'm really about that. It just kind of is it's not a bad mentality, it just kind of seems a little bit obtuse, if you know what I mean. So I'll put Maru in dislike for now. And next we'll go to Penny. Penny is another similar to Leah. I feel like Penny is just inoffensive. She's almost like this damsel in distress. Like she's this she lives with her mom Pam, and Pam is kind of like, I wouldn't say that she's like abusive, but she's definitely not like a nice lady, Pam. She's kind of an alcoholic. She kind of maybe verbally abuses Penny, and it kind of makes you feel sorry for Penny a lot. Um, I think that Penny is a genuinely good person. Despite that, she tutors the kids in the town, and she is, helping George get the mail and getting scolded by George for helping him get the mail. She tries to clean the house. She tries to cook. She might not be the best chef in the world, but at least she's, trying, giving the effort. And I believe that one day she could be a good cook. I think with Penny, um, she's just like it's very weird because like with Leah, I feel like they're both very similar characters. I just like Leah more, and I don't know why. I think like Leah just feels like a very compatible match for the farmer, whereas like Penny just kind of feels um like I want to help her. I'm gonna put her in okay. Um, I don't know. She just feels. I think what it is with Penny is she feels like too much, a little bit more like Maru in a way, where she's like all of her dislikes are like anti like alcohol, and not that it, like I'm a I understand why she's anti-alcohol, but like it just feels like you can't really have like a good time with Penny. Like you couldn't go out and get like a drink or something like that without her like kind of being like judgmental. Um, and I don't know, like I think that there's nothing really wrong with that. It's just that, sometimes I would like to, go out and get a drink, and I just feel like she would judge me for it. And maybe she wouldn't, but, I already have. I think that as far as like the bachelorettes go, I definitely like Abigail, Haley, and Leah the most as top three. So I think that if anyone's going to go down to fourth place, it's probably going to be Penny out of those options. Next, we've got Sam. And Sam is this, I feel like Sam is the youngest acting person in this Bachelorette. He just feels like he is this kind of like teenager who's, he's an older brother to Vincent, but I feel weird, like he doesn't feel like the eldest child to me. He feels like he's just kind of like this youthful kid. I don't know. I think just like Sam's entire family, I don't really care that much for. Like Jody, Kent, Vincent, Sam. I think they're just like my least favorite family in Stardew Valley. And it feels weird to say it. I'm gonna put them in dislike. Don't I don't know. I just they just feel like this like normal family that like it's not bad. It's just like I don't see why he's all like and it's weird because I don't want to be like I don't see why he's all like delinquent. Like I can see why Abigail is a bit delinquent because I think that like her kind of like family situation with Pierre and not that Caroline's bad, but I just feel like her and I can see why Abigail would clash with Caroline, and I can see I guess why Sam like I'm not really putting any good reasons here for why I dislike Sam. I just like I think he just ultimately seems too young and too immature for me. um, I do like that he's in a band. I do like skateboarding, but like he just like grinds on Haley and Emily's like flower bed and like is like, ah, I could have done that. Like when Lewis like kind of scolds him. I don't know. I just like he just feels a bit young and immature to me, and I'll just leave it at that. Next we got Sebastian. Sebastian's one of those guys that I feel like is a fan favorite. And I can see why. I do like a lot of things about Sebastian. I like that he is into D&D. I like that he's a programmer. I like that he likes coffee. He seems like kind of like this goth guy who's kind of emotionally stunted in a way. Very Sasuke vibes from Naruto. And I can definitely see the appeal. I wouldn't say that I like him a lot, but I don't dislike him. I'll put him in okay, but he's like in a high okay. Like I think that he is definitely better than Alex and Sam. I think that I definitely like Harvey and Elliot more than him. Things I don't really like about Sebastian. I think the smoking thing really deducts points. I'm not really too into smokers. The motorcycle's cool. I actually used to drive a moped in college because it's a lot cheaper than having a car. So I definitely vibe with his motorcycle. I think that his cliff kind of cutscene is pretty cool. I think he, even though the thing that he likes frogs, he might even go into like. Um, Maybe I'll put him in like for now, actually, instead of okay. Like I don't dislike him at all. Um, yeah, I don't know. He's a cool guy. I would hang out with him, but I don't know if we would be that close. He seems a bit kind of standoffish. Hard to get to know, but maybe once I got to know him a bit better, we'd be pretty good friends. So yeah, I'd probably either at the top of okay or the bottom of like. And then the last guy, Shane, another guy that's kind of liked in the community. Um, I think what's cool about Shane is his character arc and the fact that he gives you the blue chickens. I think the blue chickens is probably my favorite thing about Shane. He's kind of this guy who is very unlucky in life. He's living with Marnie. He's a bit of an alcoholic. You meet him where he's like drinking a beer by the lake and offers you one, and it's like a pretty cool thing. Not as gentleman as Elliot, who buys you a beer, but I mean at least he gives you a beer. That's pretty nice of him. And then it sort of escalates. He passes out in his bedroom, makes Jazz cry, and then next thing you know, he's passed out on the side of a cliff, and that's probably the darkest scene in the entire game. And you get him help, and he goes to the hospital, and you see this really nice scene next where he's buying Jazz bunny slippers and making amends with the family and before you know it, he's making like a movie with Emily and Clint, and it's pretty wholesome. It gets kind of dark, and then it gets really wholesome. And I think that overall, I like Shane's arc, and then it kind of goes back, and I think this kind of deducts points from Shane, where first of all, I'm not like a huge sports guy, so when he takes me to the sports game, I don't really care that much. But he starts drinking the beer again, and I don't know if this means that he is stabling out or if he's reverting back to down a path. But overall, I just don't. He seems like a big red flag to me. Like I want to help him, but I don't want to invest too much into him. because he just has a lot of baggage that I just don't know if I want to be a part of. But I don't dislike him. I definitely think that he is somewhere in okay. So now that we've got the likes, dislikes, and okay, I want to figure out the best guy, best girl, worst guy, worst girl. And so I guess automatically Maru goes down to worst girl because she's the only girl in dislike. Um, I think that's all that needs to really be said there. Then between Sam and Alex, it really comes down to, do I like the guy who is thinks he's still in high school, or do I like the guy, or do I dislike the guy who thinks he's in high school, or dislike the guy who actually probably is in high school? And I don't really like either of them. I probably dislike, I don't know. I think I dislike Sam more. I don't like Alex, but I think that Sam just feels like, I don't know. There's just something about the skateboarding scene that I keep coming back to. And I know that like this guy like was misogynist, but I think I just like his character arc more than Sam's character arc. Sam just like invites you to his concert, and I think that's cool, but like I don't know, there's a little bit more to be desired there. Um and then for best girl, best guy, I think Abigail is obviously the best girl in my opinion. Haley is a bit too conceited for me to call her best girl. I think I like her confidence and stuff, but I like how Abigail is also confident, but in like a more non-toxic, healthy way. And then I like how Leah is just kind of this nice girl, but again, Abigail is also like nice and just I feel like Abigail is almost the whole package. I feel like the main criticism, which I'm kind of seeing with like Sam, is that she does seem a bit young, but I do think that she is definitely she definitely gives me like young 20s vibes more so than high school. So I think that I'm definitely on board that she's like of age, and that like if in my younger self I would probably um marry Abigail if these were my options. Um, I think we're just the most alike. And then best guy, it's really hard for me to tell. I know Sebastian's a favorite. I feel weird putting Harvey as best guy. I think Elliot is just he's also a love him or hate him, and I think that out of all the male candidates, Elliot's probably my top pick. Um, I do wish that he didn't have that pose, but I do think that he is just a wholesome gentleman who has no ill intent behind his extensive vernacular. So there we go. That's my, I guess that's my top rating of the Stardew Valley Bachelor Bachelorettes. Again, it might be some changes down in this mid area. Actually, I kind of feel pretty confident about this. Maybe I put Leah above Haley, and then I don't know, somewhere like that. Emily kind of below Shane, I think. But other than that, yeah, I think that's probably where I would probably save and submit. But yeah, thanks for watching. Feel free to you know let me know what your favorite Bachelor or Bachelorettes are in Stardew Valley in the comments below. But yeah, have a good one. Later days.